Welcome to your Daily Dose. My name is Robert. My pal Susan, you know her, but you may not yet know Christopher. Christopher Lyon, how are you, my friend?
Hey, good, Robert. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Absolutely. We met at the PMD Alliance, the All In, back in DC, which was a
Uh-huh.
fantastic event. How was it for you? I shouldn't assume. Did you have a good time?
Yeah, it was. It was amazing. Actually, for all the work that I've been doing with the Quiver, actually, because of the quarantine, the lockdown, and everything, actually, my exposure to actually Parkinson's folks actually has been limited to some of my friends right here in Austin, really, other than sort of online stuff and everything. And so that was really great for me, just in the sense that some of those stories, Robert, both of you really know that seeing some of those folks that have been really struggling with this disease, or let's say coping with the disease and thriving with the disease for so long, was so inspirational for me to be there. And it was great. It was great. Yeah.
What a great reframe on those words.
I was going to say, and there's a couple of great things to unpack there. First, people need to kind of know you and your story. So give us your affiliation to Parkinson's and why you do this thing called the Quiver.
Right. So I was, I guess, actually, it's coming up on my 5-year anniversary, and and just had DBS. That was kind of my Christmas present to myself at the end of last year. And in terms of the Quiver, and the URL is thequiver.org. And THE, obviously, the Quiver is QUIVER. And it's a website, and it's a nonprofit that is dedicated to the arts by people with Parkinson's. Let's see, sort of as an organization or as a website, I started maybe some three and a half years ago. But as a nonprofit, it's been, I think, less than a year as a 501c3 here in the US. So yeah, and it's been a wonderful thing.
Susan, you were involved in a gala with Christopher. If that's where you first met, is that right, in Austin?
It is, and that's where I was just getting ready to go, Robert. Thank you. Yes, what you did that night was astonishing. That was for the artists whose work you represent through the Quiver. Is that?
Yeah, that's right. The notion there, I guess there's two really sort of underlying sort of core principles or sort of ideas that the Quiver is really about. One is to sort of provide hope and inspiration to folks with Parkinson's disease by both to the artists and by those who are interacting with those who are experiencing the art. But the second part is to where I can. The second proposition of the Quiver is to apply my own business skills to provide a source of income to those artists. And so the idea there was that show was that, and I had some artists. Gosh, I forget the numbers now, but there were had some 80 pieces of art by some, I don't know, maybe some 20 artists around most of the U.S., but also UK. And also Australia, Germany, and other parts that I'm probably not remembering. Yeah, and it was a wonderful thing. The show lasted a month, and I think we probably sold maybe about half the art that we had on hand, but we still have some, and and so there's some, and some artists are, and I promised sort of to keep at it, and so I'm still looking for events and opportunities to provide some ongoing or some income to those artists. Yes.
That's just beautiful.
Yeah, there's a cross section that I'd love you to dive into, because I don't think a lot of people would understand that corollary of art and Parkinson's. Can you talk about how those two things meet? You yourself, are you a writer by trade? Is that part of what you do, or is that just where you've gone to since having Parkinson's?
No. Well, let me see. So first, the first question, in terms of art and Parkinson's, or creativity in Parkinson's, there's a strand of research in cognitive science that Parkinson's can induce a burst of creativity in many. You think, like, for example, the work of Ingrid Hauf, and she's a wonderful artist based in Germany. And by the way, one of the few artists that I've seen that actually paints about Parkinson's, and so she's really sort of a classic example in my mind, although there are many others. She had never been an artist before, and she really had no idea, but that she had these skills within her. But when she got the Parkinson's diagnosis, she got so depressed, she admitted herself in a psychiatric facility. And as part of her therapy there, they brought some paints and brushes. And now she really produces some amazing work. I encourage all of you that may be listening and watching to go out and check it out. Really, it's I think it's Ingrid Hauf, and HAUFF.de. She's based in Germany. really amazing stuff. And she's selling works now for thousands of dollars regularly. And that's just how good it is. And so, but again, she's just one example for myself. I have always had a long-standing love affair with poetry. Never written before. I had a career in business again. I was working on my MBA at Northwestern, and while I was there, I managed to talk this undergraduate French professor into doing an independent study with me on French poetry. And so, and I just offer that as an example to say, well, you know, it's been a long-standing thing for me, but I had this long-standing career in business, and I get the Parkinson's. But I will say this though, that I didn't write poetry until my diagnosis.
Let's hold it right there, because that alone is fascinating to me, that idea of the Parkinson's somehow being an instigator. That's our 5 minutes. We're going to come back. We're going to do more in just a minute. Thanks for joining us. This has been your Daily Dose.